It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Caligione, and it's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening. Hope you're doing all right. Give a special shout out to our ESPN New Hampshire listeners. Glad you guys could join us today. We got a busy show scheduled for you. I got some updates on our schedule with the holidays and beyond. But first, today's show is being brought to you in part by BrainHealthForever.com. BrainHealthForever.com. Take care of your brain. You take care of the rest of your body. You watch what you eat. You exercise. You do all those good things. But what about your noggin? What about your brain? You want to think more clearly? You want to be a little more alert? You want to get the most out of your life? Well, then check out this website, www.brainhealthforever.com. Find out why Dr. Oz supports this product. Find out why it's the only patented brain-specific supplement on the market today. Find out why I take one every single day. Read the testimonials. Get yourself some of this product. What the hell are you waiting for? www.brainhealthforever.com. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Turning Stone Resort and Casino and their huge boxing event tomorrow night, HBO. And then HBO Latino. I'm going to be ringside. I know my man Dax Khan is going to be ringside. We're going to have a great time there. What a card that is from top to bottom. If you haven't gotten yourself some tickets, I do believe there's still tickets available. Make sure you visit the Turning Stone box office. You can get there real easy by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com, and clicking on the fight poster, which is right there on the left-hand side. Get yourself some tickets. And come on down to the fight, or come on up wherever you're coming from, and make sure you say hello to myself and Dax. And by the way, my man Harold Letterman should be ringside, and as you will find out later on the show, he got inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Southern Gourmet Spice Company, and their great product, my favorite, Kenny Bear's Barbecue Rub. It makes everything taste so much better, and it's not just for barbecues. And finally, today's show is being brought to you by my book. That's right, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. It's available right now where all good books are sold, and I mean, you can get it right now if you visit Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and by the way, the electronic versions are available too. So you can get it for Kindle and some other ones as well. So get yourself a copy. I think it starts out, the Barnes & Noble version of the electronic copy, I think it starts out at like $8. So, hey, if you haven't done your Christmas shopping or holiday season shopping yet, what are you waiting for? Get yourself a copy. Now, if you want to get a signed copy, you still may have some time to get it for the holidays, but you got to order it right now. Signed copy you can get by visiting our book club section on the website. Now, if you're going to go up to the Turning Stone, I may have some copies with me that I will sell signed at a discount price, but you got to come up and ask. So all of that is going on. Now, coming up a little bit, we got some fight results from yesterday. Sugar Shane Mosley back in the mix, I guess. We got some updates on the regular WBA Heavyweight Championship. Also for the recently vacated IBF Heavyweight title. We got an update on that. I will give you the bottom line on all of the inductees that got into the Hall of Fame, and I'll be looking forward to going up there this June, coming up this next June. Andy Lee is going up against Billy Joe Saunders this weekend, but he's already, should he come out on top, he's already eyeing a Triple G showdown, which I'm looking forward to. Manny Pacquiao has not chosen his opponent yet. We'll talk about that. Marco Captain Huck returns to the ring. We'll talk about that. And we got a bunch of emails to talk to. Now, I do want to give you a little update. For the holiday, we will be here Monday to do a show. But then for Christmas holiday, we'll be off until the following Monday, which is December 28th. And we'll do a show on the 28th. And then we will be back after the new year on Monday, the 4th. Now, in between, the premium podcast subscribers will all be getting shows, as well as some other special shows. Now, today's Friday. We do have Larry Hazard scheduled to join us a little bit, but I'm only going to be breaking, I think, once or twice with commercial breaks today. So we will try to get the phone lines open. Now, we got some stuff in the mix. We're going to be definitely doing the show after the new year at a couple of different times during the week. We will still be doing it during this time slot, but we got some special stuff going on as well, which I'll get to. But just to give you an example, because we're so backed up with emails and interaction from you guys, we've decided to get a show that will focus just on the emails. I'm excited about that because it'll give me an opportunity to really get in depth with some of my thoughts, opinions, and concerns with some emails from you guys. So we're looking forward to that. And we're also thinking about doing a noon blast on Wednesdays. And what I mean by that is our noon blast from the past will be on Wednesdays at noon. So all of that stuff I'll get to and explain. Now, don't forget, for next week and the week after, specifically, give me your top 10 all-time great pound-for-pound fighters and your current top 10 pound-for-pound fighters, and I'll read them on air as we close the year up. So let's get this party started with some emails because, man, I got a bunch of them here, and some of them are pretty long-winded, so I want to make sure we get them all in. So we're trying to clean out the email queue so we can kick off all this new stuff. First one is from my man Jesse. He says, "Hey, Billy C, I really didn't like Jose Benitez Jr.'s performance. I still see him fighting like an amateur. His punches are more like upper body slap punches instead of torquing his body from his feet all the way to his upper body. He says he wants Crawford, but don't think he's ready. He's more. This is according to Jesse. He says he's more ready for guys like Algieri, Postal, or Michelle DeRocco. You look at Terrence Crawford. He's the top of the division. You know, I guess I don't fault a fighter for wanting to fight the top guy, but I have a tendency to agree with Jesse here. Algieri wouldn't be a bad move. Chris Algieri is a good fighter. I mean, he's an upper echelon. Victor Postal, I don't know. Might not be ready for him, but DeRocco, definitely. Good email there. He says also Omar's fight was pretty good, but I think he needs a lot of work at 140. 140. The fight was at 152. I mean, Omar has to figure out if he's going at 147 or 154. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. He weighed 152 for that fight. Anyway, Jesse says I'd like to see him against Amir Rahman, Cletus Seldon, Chris. And then he's got his last point. Amir Rahman, that'd be a great fight. Amir Rahman's got to get back on track after his last fight, and Kledish Selden. I really like that fight. That might be a good one for Omar. He says, Chris Arreola had an awful performance. What's your thoughts? Can't say as I disagree. We talked a little about this on Monday, and to be honest with you, I thought the fight was extremely close. It could have gone either way. I did think Chris Arreola squeaked out the fight, 115, 113. But I don't think anybody could say robbery. Use the word robbery, and I don't think if the scores went the other way for Kaufman, 115, 113, and I don't think you could argue if it was a draw too. So I thought it was a close fight, but in a nutshell, it has me believing that, to be honest with you, that Chris Arreola is nothing like he used to be. And that's for sure. So, thanks for the emails. This one is from, it's called Stan the Man. He's signing it Stan the Man. But he says, Billy, who do you think Triple Duck will fight now that Canelo is out of the question? We already know it won't be Lara because he's been avoiding him like the plague for a while now. What's your thoughts on his next opponent? First of all, why people say that Triple G is avoiding Ruslandy Lara is beyond me. If Lara wants a fight at 160, I don't see why the fight wouldn't happen. Except you got to remember, I can't stand when boxing fans are like, accusing a guy like Triple G for ducking someone like Lara. Now, Lara's an extremely talented fighter, but remember the politics that has, infiltrated the sport of boxing. Lara's team doesn't want to work with Triple G's team, and therefore the fight's not happening. So don't blame it on Triple G. As far as Triple G's next opponent, looks like it's going to be Andy Lee. Should Andy Lee get by Billy Joe Saunders tomorrow night? And to me, that speaks volumes because Andy Lee wants to fight Triple G. Triple G wants to fight Andy Lee. It'll be a unification fight. And then really, the only belts left for Triple G to collect would be Daniel Jacobs' belt, which, again, the politics involved. We don't know if Daniel Jacobs' management will let him fight Triple G. They'd be foolish to because Triple G will knock Danny Jacobs into another dimension. But the truth of the matter is, as far as Canelo Alvarez goes, listen, that was a big WBC sham. The big scam system that the WBC likes to do, demanding that they're going to do this. We're putting our foot down. And then next thing you know, a fight that was supposed to go into negotiations 15 days max after the conclusion of Cotto Canelo now has evolved into by fall of next year. Next year, they should get in the ring. They're both going to be allowed to do a mandatory or a voluntary defense of whatever title they want and then fight each other. So we're not looking at a potential matchup between Triple G and Canelo Alvarez until the fall of next year, most likely September. So we'll keep you posted on that one. Thanks for your email, Stan the Man. We look forward to emails like that. Alex Mayweather says, hey, Billy C., happy holidays to you and everyone. Happy holidays to you too, Alex. He says, I got a couple of questions for you. With the WBC letting Canelo survive until after May of 2016, who do you think Triple G will fight next? I've been hearing Arturo Johnson is a possible opponent and would love to see the winner of Andy Lee, Billy Joe Saunders, winner fight Triple G. But politics might stop that bout. Also, with the Olympics coming up, is there any chance an American is going to win a gold? Are there any amateur prospects you're spotlighting? Thanks again. I love the show. I heard rumors that Torino Johnson was going to get a shot at Triple G. I like Johnson. I don't think he's got a shot against Triple G, but listen. The way I wish this sport was that. The guys work their way up the ladder of the contenders, having the top contenders fighting each other, and then when they got to a certain point, they get to fight the champion. But unfortunately, that's not the way it is. I do believe that Andy Lee and Billy Joe Saunders, the winner of that fight, will fight Triple G next. So that's what I'm looking for. But if Torino Johnson gets in the mix somehow, I won't be as happy as a unification fight. But I do like Johnson, even though he was out of the ring for a bit. And to tell you the truth, if I'm Torino Johnson's team, I'm not jumping into the ring with Triple G so quick. Maybe try and get a shot with someone else. Like Daniel Jacobs is a more winnable fight for Johnson. I'm not saying he beats Jacobs, but I think he's got a better chance than he would against Triple G. As far as any Americans winning a gold in the Olympics coming up, to be honest with you, I don't follow the amateur circuit the way I probably should. So I really don't have an answer for you there, Alex. Thanks for the email. This one's from my man Angel. He says, "Hola, señor C. This is Angel from Madison, Wisconsin. I would like to get your take on the top 10 or top boxing trainers currently in boxing, and what makes, in your opinion, a good trainer to a bad one. I also wonder if a trainer has multiple prize fighters, how should a trainer handle each fighter accordingly? Should the boxer train each fighter the same or look at each fighter and train them differently? Sometimes I wonder, is it hard for a trainer to change his ways of training, much like a boxer adjusting to old and bad habits? And during a fight, when a boxer takes the minute rest, who, in your opinion, has the best example of coaching his boxer when he's in trouble and overcoming a possible loss and winning? Having a great corner is a plus, but it can also be a minus in the most crucial times. To name 10 trainers off the top of my head right now would be kind of tough. There's some good ones out there. Here's the thing. I think that, number one, the sign of a good trainer, a teacher, a boxing teacher, should be well versed, and he should be, or she should be, have the ability to take a fighter and evaluate those fighters' talents and weaknesses and be able to train them accordingly. A trainer that trains all his or her fighters the same, a la my man Kevin Rooney trained everybody, the way Customato trained people, the Bob and Weave, the Mike Tyson style. To me, that's a sign of not a great trainer, to be honest with you. And when you get the right fighter, physique-wise and everything else, maybe that works out for you. But the good trainers, the good teachers, will be able to take a fighter and capitalize on his, best qualities, and also try to help him with his weaknesses. Now, as far as in the corner, hey, listen, the sign of a good trainer, 110%, is the trainers that have the ability to make the adjustments on the fly during a fight. End of story. There's many, many fighters that a fighter gets to that corner during that minute rest, and all they're getting is rah-rah stuff. Go out there and get them, do this, do that. They're not getting any, constructive criticism or instruction. So I think the trainers that have the ability to get their points across during the fight and make those on-the-fly adjustments and get their fighter to respond are the best trainers. And truthfully, we need more teachers, more quality boxing trainers. We have a lot of rah-rah men. Thanks for the email, Angel. This one's from my man James, and his topic is boxing movies. He says, the other day one of your listeners asked about Creed. Strictly by happenstance, I saw the movie a few hours after I heard the podcast. In my opinion, it's a hero movie which uses boxing as a vehicle rather than a boxing movie. For example, taking the character's gloves off to use the toilet makes a funny scene, but we boxing fans know that once the official signs the gloves, they don't come off until after the fight. As far as the Rocky series is concerned, it's not as good as the first two or even Rocky Balboa, but it's better than Rocky 3, 4, and 5. If somebody wants to see a good boxing movie, I'd suggest Cinderella Man, Raging Bull, and The Fighter. I like the Cinderella Man. I love the Raging Bull, but my favorite movie is Requiem of a Heavyweight. And also A Harder Day Fall is also a really good one that I recommend. Thanks for the email, James. This one's from our new young fan, Raheem. He says, "Hey, Billy C, this is Raheem. What's up, Raheem?" He says, I was excited to hear you read my email about Floyd. Yeah, I'm still throwing up over that. Anyway, he says, it feels great to be part of your boxing community. We welcome you in the boxing community, Raheem, because truthfully, there's no right or wrong answer, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I respect yours. He said, I wanted to say that I know you mentioned that there was not a Floyd fight that you call memorable. I just wonder why. For me, Floyd has outstanding memorable fights, more than Oscar De La Hoya, who's the second most pay-per-view attraction. Dude, here's the thing. First of all, Floyd Mayweather does not have more memorable fights than Oscar De La Hoya. And please don't use the pay-per-view and the dollars and the undefeated record that Floyd has and equate that to greatness. That was great for Floyd. There's only one Floyd Mayweather. He made it work for himself. Please don't be ignorant about that, because that does not mean he's as great as you think. If you think he's great, fine, that's okay. But don't use those reasons. You got to make sure you use the right reasons, okay? That's not a good one. Anyway, he says Floyd had a great fight with Corrales in KO fashion when Corrales was undefeated. But that was 10 years ago, Raheem. That was before he adopted the style that he is now, meaning safety first. He says Floyd outboxed De La Hoya in a great fight. He KO'd undefeated Hatton and Castillo twice. The Castillo fight, a lot of people believe he lost the first one. He won the second one. As far as De La Hoya, that was an extremely close fight. Extremely close. And if Oscar De La Hoya's corner didn't tell him he won the fight and he took his foot off the gas, maybe the outcome would have been different. As far as the Hatton knockout, that was an effective and an exciting fight. But I just you're reminding me of it now, which I'm glad. But honestly, it just. Anyway, he says he KO'd Gotti in a great fashion, fought a great fight against Cotto. Hey, he was way bigger than Arturo Gotti, but anyway, the Cotto fight was a good one. That was probably one of the more recent good fights that he had. But again, they're not fights that stick out in my head. I don't think of those fights right off the bat. There's so many other great fights I think of prior to thinking of those. Anyway, he says, oh my God, wait till you. He says, and to prove that he can KO anybody at any given time, the proof was when he knocked out Victor Ortiz after Victor tried to headbutt him. That was the KO of the year, or more like the decade. Dude, listen to me. That knockout was the worst example of a professional fighter that I've ever seen. That was not Floyd Mayweather knocking out Victor Ortiz because he could. That was not Floyd Mayweather knocking out Victor Ortiz when Victor Ortiz intentionally headbutted him. That was Floyd Mayweather knocking out Victor Ortiz when Victor Ortiz's hands were down to his side. Just like Larry Merchant said on the broadcast, that was a legal sucker punch. Joe Cortez lost control of that fight, and Floyd Mayweather took advantage of a situation. To me, it was a punk move. To me, that was one of the reasons that I started thinking Floyd Mayweather was nothing more than a punk. Yes, he knocked him out. But, anybody can knock anybody out if you stand there with a clear, open shot with no defense coming back at you. A KO of the year, maybe like Alex Papali said at the time, based on the significance, but I wouldn't be bragging about that knockout. That was a sucker punch of a sucker punch. He says, these were fights I can recall that I saw with friends and family that were memorable and are always talked about. He goes on to say Floyd has the ability to take on Triple G and beat Triple G because he has a great defense and can outbox Triple G due to the fact that Triple G has not fought a high-caliber fighter, and I think he's ducked potential top fighters. I think Triple G had years to try to fight Floyd, but never tried to fight him. But after Floyd retired, Triple G calls him out, and now opted for Canelo, who's a good stationary fighter, and he can take Canelo because of instead of fighting. Dude, Floyd Mayweather wants no part of Triple G. And just because you think that he can beat him, that you automatically give him the win, that's no effing way. Floyd Mayweather doesn't have the balls to fight Triple G. And by the way, Triple G has worked his way up. Triple G should not be held responsible because other fighters won't fight him. I don't get it. You're totally off base here, Raheem. He says, on another topic, I would like to know why heavyweights are ducking Wilder. Man, you listen to what these people say. You believe what Floyd says. You believe what... Who's ducking Wilder? The only person that thinks people are ducking him is Wilder because he's delusional. Wilder has to be one of the greatest heavyweights ever because he's 35-0 with 34 knockouts. I've seen all his fights, and he's plowing through everybody more so than Mike Tyson ever did after 35. Man, Raheem, I'm sorry. I can't read any more of this email. We'll save it for when we focus on emails because you're totally. I don't know what to say. I'm moving on. This next one is from Stacy Smith. Hello, my name is Stacy, and I like the show, and I'm a big fan of boxing and MMA, but boxing for me is way better than MMA and even football. I'm interested in wanting to know where boxing will be going without Floyd Mayweather. I'm sad to see him go because Floyd would have you tuned in no matter if you liked him or not. I think the more he went undefeated, the more people wanted to see him lose or get close to Marciano's record. Floyd, for me, represented a side of boxing that's often ignored, and that's defense. In football, defense wins games, and I think Floyd displayed that, and is why he's 49-0. You're right. He's a great defensive fighter. There's no question about it. He says, I saw that you mentioned Floyd should have fought Manny years ago, but Floyd has stated when he wanted to set up the fight that he offered Manny at the time $40 million, and he would keep 60 out of what back in 2010 would have been a minimum of $100 million. But Manny wanted a 50-50 split and said no to the drug testing and blood urine. First of all, he said yes after that. That was a negotiation tactic. And at the time, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd, it was arguable who the number one draw was at the time. A 50-50 split at that time was fair. Manny said no to those demands, and that's why the fight didn't happen. Why people can't look at the facts and understand Mayweather was the A side with an undefeated record and more pay-per-view revenue. If I was Floyd, I'd use that as part of my Yeah. At that time, Floyd wasn't the A side. It was an arguable point who the A side was. After that, when they finally fought, yes, Floyd was clearly the A side. He says, I think if that fight happened years ago, it would have been the same outcome. I don't. I disagree with you, Stacy. I think that if that fight happened 5 years ago, Manny knocks him out. I think if they have a rematch, don't be surprised if Manny knocks him out. But that's just my opinion. He says Floyd's a great role model to young African Americans. He says he's grown up as a poor child of color in a rough neighborhood without a father to help train him because he was in prison most of the time. He overcame poverty by training hard and staying away from vices to accomplish wins and wealth. Floyd is financially secure for the rest of his life with all that money and will be able to invest it properly and not go broke. First of all, Floyd Mayweather did not grow up in poverty. Okay, Floyd Mayweather's father was not in prison most of his early life. He did some time for some stuff, but he wasn't in prison. Yes, he was away from home, but Floyd was living with his grandparents and had everything that he needed. He was not growing up in poverty, did not suffer, did not do without, contrary to what he wants you to believe. As far as a role model for young African Americans, I think if you look at the fact that Floyd accomplished as much as he has so far, yes, he's a role model for not just young African Americans, for any young person. But there's a lot of other negatives that go with Floyd Mayweather that shouldn't be looked up as. his stuff outside the rings. And as far as him set and having the money for the rest of his life, when you see a guy that's in a casino gambling $1 million on a football game, when you see a guy buying watches for $1 million and more and spending $5 million on cars and traveling and never wearing a pair of shoes twice and all that stuff, and now that the money's gone, no, you'll see, money coming in is gone. You'll see a guy like him piss his money away. Guaranteed the man will be broke, hopefully in my lifetime, because I want to see it. He says, I think he's a pioneer in the PED testing, and I hope that example is one that the governing bodies take to keep the sport clean, and it's not hurting a person. It's hurting a person, not a baseball, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I agree that it was good that he brought it out, but I also wouldn't be surprised if someday it comes out that he himself was on steroids. I just... the guy that makes the most noise sometimes is that. But I believe in you're innocent until proven guilty, and Floyd has never been, at least there's been rumors that he tested positive, but it's never been reported publicly that he has. Hey, listen, I got one more email, but I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to take a short break because we're scheduled to get my man Larry Hazard on the phone. So I'll be back in 2.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man. www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio with no worthy contenders. It's Talking Boxing with Billy C. Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C Show. Glad you could join us. Don't forget about visiting our webpage, www.BillyCBoxing.com, for all the news and everything else about the sport. So check it out. And while you're at it, follow us on Twitter. It's at Talking Boxing. That's TalkinBoxing. And we'd appreciate it if you follow us and get some of your friends and family to follow us as well. Joining us right now, Boxing Hall of Famer Larry Hazard. What's up, Larry? Hello, Larry. Yeah, I saw that we might have had an issue here with the phone, so I apologize for that. I guess Larry. I was having some issues with the other line too, so we're going to move on. We're sorry that we missed Larry Hazard. I would like to have chatted with him a little bit, but I'll get to the bottom of it and find out what's going on with him. We'll make sure that he gets back. So I got another email to read, and we'll get into some news. I'm going to open up the phone lines in a little while, so hang tight for that. I know a lot of people got some stuff that's on their mind. A final email. This is from my man Mike. From Michigan. He says, hey, Billy C., on Monday you received an email from a person who was 18 years old, claims to love boxing, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. is his favorite. He says, I'm 28 years old. I was 18 years old 10 years ago, right around the time when Floyd first became a pay-per-view attraction when he beat Arturo Gatti. You know I'm not a Floyd fan, and I believe everyone is entitled to their own personal opinions about who their favorite fighter is. If you claim to love Floyd, then great. I'll never understand why, but that's besides the point. What pisses me off about that email is this: do your homework. At 18 years old, you should be used to doing homework. I personally made it a point to understand boxing at a very young age and to do my homework on the fighters the best I could. My point is, the emailer, who is a Floyd fanatic, I guess, never heard of Sugar Ray Robinson, Jack Johnson, Ezra Charles, etc., Floyd being the best ever. Most boxing fans who have knowledge of how the sport originated and evolved into what it is now can't take that seriously. I don't like that an 18-year-old kid thinks Floyd is the best ever. You know, before I go on, I don't have a problem with fans like who Mike is referring to as Raheem, who I just read another email. I have no problem with young fans, having their idols or whatever, whether it be in boxing or any other sport. In this case, we're talking about Floyd Mayweather. I don't have a problem with young fans thinking he's the best ever. I really don't. My problem, because when push comes to shove, your opinion and my opinion, they're subjective. It's our opinion. There is no right or wrong answer. So if Raheem or anybody else wants to think that Floyd Mayweather is the best ever, great. I'm okay with that. I don't believe that, me personally, but I'm okay with kids or anybody for that matter thinking that he's the best. What I have a problem with is when they say crazy stuff to back it up, when they give the reason that he's the best ever because he's undefeated, or because he makes the most money, or because he's the biggest pay-per-view draw in history. That's not a good enough reason to substantiate you making a statement, I'm saying you, whoever makes that statement, that he's the best. That's my problem. And when you look at a guy like Floyd Mayweather and you look at his opponents, on paper, you could say, oh, he fought this guy, he was a champion, he was a former champion, look at this, look at that, look at that. But the truth of the matter is in today's sport of boxing, unlike like Mike refers to here in Sugar Ray Robinson days, in Sugar Ray Robinson days, you worked your way up. When you were the champion, you were fighting the number one contender when you were putting your title on the line. And that number one contender had to fight his way up to become the number one contender. It wasn't a guy all of a sudden out of left field that you're defending. Like Raheem said earlier about Deontay Wilder being better than, knocking more people out than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson fought relative fighters that were in the discussion. Deontay Wilder has not. He's fought one fighter that was ranked, and that was Berman Stavern. I'm telling you that Artur Spitska is going to give Deontay Wilder all kinds of trouble. I'm predicting right now that Spitska wins the fight. So I mean, it's going to show you how bad this guy is and how built up and overrated he is. I'm talking about Deontay Wilder. So I mean, that's what I think. Now, I'm not also going to not knock a young fan for not knowing who Jack Johnson or Ezra Charles or Sugar Ray Robinson is. It's a different world. So, I mean, you can't knock them on that. Anyway, Mike goes on to say, I don't like when an 18-year-old thinks Floyd's the best ever, void of proper punishment for beating the hell out of women, more than one woman on more than one occasion. If anything, Floyd's gotten away with proper punishment in my book. It's like the young modern boxing fan believes the BS that comes out of fighters' mouths. That's scary for the future of the sport. It's scary with all the available resources the modern fan could bypass, guys like Jack Johnson, Sugar Ray Robinson, Duran, etc. It's scary to hear somebody say Manny Pacquiao's overrated. Yeah, a guy who's transcended boxing into a worldwide interest is overrated. Born on the dirt floor, coming up to junior middleweight to fight the guy Floyd should have fought and captivating his whole country. Right, that guy's overrated. And Floyd transcended boxing as an inspiration. What's inspiring about Floyd, Billy C? Tell me. Send that emailer a copy of your book and staple it to his effing eyeball and tell him to do his homework. Floyd inspiring? Is that the way our modern boxing fan is? Then it's a no-brainer why Triple G versus Lemieux didn't do way better than it should have. That email made me sick. and not the part about Floyd being his favorite fighter, the part about Floyd being victimized somehow. That top rank was zero to help him, that any fighter can do what Floyd did, but the most gut-wrenching part was Floyd was inspiring. Thanks for the email, Mike. And again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If Floyd inspires young fans, that's fine. My only hang-up is that you put it in perspective. I do believe that in any sport, a fan should know a little about the history. But the bottom line is, things change, times change, fans change, generations change. Whatever works. If these younger fans like Floyd or like his style of fighting, and that's what they're looking for, boxing has a tendency to give the people what they want. So if that's what we get, be ready for it. Thanks for the emails. Like I said, we're going to be focusing a show once a week just on the emails. We're going to break the emails out of our normal show on during the 5 to 7 slot, and we will be reading emails on a separate show that will be available for the podcast and also YouTube. So keep sending me your emails. We want you to be part of the show. We just it takes up a lot of time, so we're going to dedicate our own show and take some highlights and stuff. And you're going to like it, trust me. If you got any questions, thoughts, concerns, comments, email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. And listen, I will read your email. I don't care if you agree with me on topics or not, as long as it's presented in an intelligent manner, like all the emails that I read. I might not disagree. I might not agree with them, but I will read them as long as they're written intelligently. Sugar Shane Mosley returned to the ring last night and scored a 10th round knockout over Patrick Lopez to improve to 49 wins, 9 losses, and a draw with 41 knockouts. Lopez drops to 23-6. Mosley's 44 years old, and Patrick Lopez at one time, not too long ago, was a significant piece of the sport. This guy was a contender. So, I give Mosley some credit for beating him and knocking him out. I think it's paving the way for Mosley to get another big payday in the welterweight division. We'll see. I bet you his name surfaces. Guys like Keith Thurman, maybe even Sean Porter. I don't know. We'll see. Also on that card, Luis Concepcion improved to 34-4 with 24 knockouts when he beat Hernan Tyson Marquez over 12 rounds, 120-107 twice, 120-109 with the way the judges scored it. He was originally supposed to fight my man, Giovanni Segura, but Segura backed out at the last minute. I have no idea why. And also on this card, Jezreel Corrales improved to 19-1 when he beat Juan Antonio Rodriguez. And by the way, everyone that had submitted the Billy C Challenge prior to this fight and picked Corrales will get the credit for the win. Everyone that submitted the Billy C Challenge fights after this fight, so if I received your challenge sheets this morning, you will not get credit for the fight, but you won't lose anything either. You just won't be averaged in with the extra win. That's all. They announced that it's confirmed that Ruslan Shagayev will be defending his WBA regular old heavyweight title against Lucas Big Daddy Brown. That's taking place on March 5th. Also, some heavyweight news. The IBF was successful in breaking up the heavyweight division a little more when they took and stripped Tyson Fury of the IBF heavyweight title that Tyson Fury won from Vladimir Klitschko, and it went up for purse bid, and the purse bid took place, and the winners of the fight looks like Warriors Boxing won the purse bid. $1,238,000 was the winning bid. The date is tentatively set for January 16th. The combatants, V. Glazkov, going up against Charles Martin. The way the IBF splits that is 65-35, and Glazkov gets the 65% because he was the guy that was he had won the title eliminator, so he was the number one seed, so to speak. So we'll see what happens with that. Kathy Duva, who's with Main Event, said we're thrilled that Cesar is getting his world title fight right away, and the fact that it's happening in our backyard. The turnaround was quick. Both fighters will have the same amount of time to prepare, so it'll be fair. So we'll see what happens with this. So, hey, listen, a lot of rumors are circulating that Charles Martin is going to be advised by his advisor, Al Heyman, not to take the fight. So we'll see what happens with that one. But January 16th, set for Glazkov and Charles Martin. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. The International Boxing Hall of Fame was signed, sealed, and delivered the other day. And Hector Macho Camacho got in, which I was hoping he was going to get in. And I'm glad he got in. Lupe Pintor and Hilaro Zapata also elected into the International Hall of Fame from the modern era. Harold Letterman, my man Harold Letterman, congratulations. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm looking forward to chatting with him tomorrow night up at the Turning Stone. Mark Ratner, longtime Nevada State Athletic Commissioner, he was inducted, as well as Jerry Eisenberg and Colonel Bob Sheridan, a longtime announcer for a lot of big events, was also inducted in as well. So that's what's going to be taking place in June up in Canastota. So make sure you make your plans for that. I know I'm going to be there, and I'll be selling my book. Andy Lee is ready to fight Billy Joe Saunders tomorrow night, but he has said that should everything go well, he is looking forward to fighting Triple G. He says, that's a fight I want. If I win against Billy Joe Saunders, which he has no doubt in his mind that is going to happen, he says that he wants to fight Triple G. And I, for one, believe him, and I'm looking forward to that fight. The PBC is getting one more fight in before the end of the year. And I'm glad to announce that they're fighting on December 29th. They got another PBC fight that's taking place on FS1 and Fox Deportes. It's a Tuesday night, and the main event is going to be undefeated Omar Douglas, who's 15-0, going up against Frank D'Alba, who's 17-1. Omar Douglas, if you've never seen him live, then you missed his mom, who's always there. Yelling and screaming, it's a show in itself. So if you get a chance to go see that, you'll get a double whammy. Manny Pacquiao claimed that he was going to make his opponent, he chooses his opponent on last Friday, and he hasn't done it. And he still, as of me going on air today, still hasn't done it. Apparently, Timothy Bradley is the number one guy, then Terrence Crawford, and also Amir Khan. Those are the three fighters that, according to Top Rank, is the fighters he wants to pick from. So we'll see what happens with that. Marco Captain Huck is getting back into the ring. He's fighting in February 27th. And who's he fighting? Well, he's fighting an old foe, Ola Afolobi. It will be their fourth meeting, and all of the fights were pretty good. So Marco Captain Huck, as you know, lost his title to what's his name there, Glazkov or Glowacki. Remember Glowacki, not Glazkov. Glowacki beat him in a entertaining fight, knocked him out, and Marco Captain Huck's getting back on his horse. So the phone lines are open. I'm looking for your thoughts. 845-228-8710. 845-228-8710. Phone line is open right now. You guys know that I can't stand Mario Ronaldo of the Showtime broadcast team. And the reason I don't like him, I don't know him personally, so I don't have anything personally against him, but I just don't like announcers that are constantly yelling and screaming at you. And to me, he's got that radio voice, and he's like yelling and screaming all the time. He has toned it down a little bit, but I think he's awful. It was announced last week, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but it was announced last week that he has been hired by the WWE. He's now the voice of the series SmackDown, the SmackDown series. And to me, this is perfect for Mario Ronaldo. This is the kind of guy he is. He's the kind of announcer that should be calling WWE stuff, not pro boxing. But nonetheless, congratulations, Ronaldo. I think you might have found your niche. Hopefully, they'll throw all kinds of money at you, and you can leave boxing, because we could use way better announcers than you are when it comes to boxing. 845-228-8710. Phone line is open, and we want to hear from you. If not, you know what I'm going to do. Even though we haven't had some shows, I don't mind taking off a little early. We haven't had any commercial breaks, except for the one when I tried to get my man Larry on the phone, but I'm not sure what happened there. But Tyson Fury, the new, in my opinion, world heavyweight champion. I mean, he beat the guy, so I give him the credit. He's not scoring many points with people with his mouth. Now, first of all, there's no question that he did an extremely great thing by beating Vladimir Klitschko. As a matter of fact, he upset him. It was a huge upset when you stop and think about it. But the bottom line is, first the IBF stripped some of the title. Then he's pissed off and because he wasn't invited to the BBC Sports Awards show. He wanted to get the Personality of the Year award and didn't get it. But he's been making some comments about women and the gay community and everything else. And it got so crazy, some of his comments, that it was reported last week that the police in England, the Greater Manchester Police, have received reports that the comments that Tyson Fury is making are being regarded as hate crimes. And they are contemplating arresting him over this because of his beliefs and comments about, the gay community and some statements about women and et cetera, et cetera. I can't believe that. Now, I'm not an expert on English law. But I know one thing. Here in the United States, we have something called the freedom of speech, and we're allowed to say things like that. As long as we're not hurting anybody physically. I could have an opinion on the gay community, whether it be positive or negative. And although people could disagree with me, it's a legal right that I have to express my feelings. It's an amendment that we have in the United States. I'm shocked that, somebody could, actually prosecute an individual for stupid, for things that are coming out of his mouth. Now, I agree that they're stupid, that Tyson Fury is saying some stupid stuff. I agree with that. But to try and arrest him for a hate crime, that seems a little off the wall to me. Senator McCain and also Senator Harry Reid have finally got the pardon resolution in place for one of my favorite fighters of all time, Jack Johnson, and they are still urging President Obama to pardon or I should say Jack Johnson. His real name was John Arthur Johnson, but to pardon Jack Johnson of violating the Mann Act in 1912 when he was convicted. He was actually the only person ever convicted of the Mann Act, and was the only person that ever did time for it. Now, in case you don't know what the Mann Act is, it's basically said that you can't, at the time, you couldn't transport women across state lines for immoral purposes. A little hanky-panky going on. The ironic thing about this whole bogus charge was that it was a prejudiced thing that was issued because no one liked Jack Johnson because of the color of his skin. The part of this that bothers me the most is the fact that he was arrested and did time for transporting a white woman across state lines for immoral purposes, but it was his wife. I don't even agree with the act. I don't agree with the law, so to speak. But there has to be an asterisk. An immoral purpose with somebody other than your wife. I don't know. But the bottom line was, thank God that it's not 1912 anymore. But I hope that even though it's way too late, I hope that they do pardon Jack Johnson, one of my favorite fighters of all time. Last chance to give us a call, 845-228-8710. If not, I am going to pack it in a little early. No problem doing that. I got no problems. I will take a break here in a second, but I do want to talk a little about the card tomorrow night at the Turning Stone. I also want to run down the fights that are on the Billy C Challenge and give you my thoughts on those. And I am going to take a short little break right now. And when I do come back, I'm going to do that. And if we get, just as I say this, we're getting my man Dax calling in right now. So I won't take a break, and we'll go to Dax right now. What's up, Dax?
You got no problems, man. You got more problems
than you?
Nobody got more problems than me, man.
All right, so
you
know the old saying, don't be throwing rocks around that glass house you're living in, bro. So...
half the windows are broke now, so what's it matter?
So what's up, man?
I just, a lot of news came out today on different levels of things, actually. I think some of the stuff we were talking about earlier on today. One being, the Glasgow-Martin fight, as we were saying, what's going on with the IBF nowadays, Bill? It seems between the fact of, with the Fury situation, and then you have the Veins and Martirosyan and Julian Williams. Supposedly one is saying that this is an IBF elimination fight. The other one's saying, it's BS. So I don't know what's going on there, who's saying whichever. But this IBF just seems to be going down the tubes quicker than any of the other sanctioning bodies. We already knew the other ones were garbage. What are they trying to do, join in the mix?
Yeah, all the sanctioning bodies are garbage, and they're destroying the sport. I was having a conversation with a guy last night about just that, and they're not going to let their claws up. They're just going to devour it until it's gone. They're picking the meat off the bones right now with the sport of boxing, and you're 100% right. I mean, how many elimination bouts can you have? They strip a guy of a title an hour and a half after he wins it. And now they order the fight less than a month away, and there's rumor that Charles Martin is going to be advised by Al Haymon to walk away from the fight, because the purse bid wasn't even $1.5 million, that's going to be split, So I don't know, man. It boils down to one word, Dax. I say it all the time, and that word is greed.
I thought that absolutely it's greed. I had this conversation. With about 3 or 4 other people. I thought that actually Warriors bid over a little bit more than $1 million, because I believe, I don't know.
Yeah, little less than 1.3 million. I just was talking about it before. It's 1.2 and change or something like that.
Well, main events, Kathy is the one that initiated that whole thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of main events. But, she's the one that initiated the whole, this whole cycle going on here for Glasgow. And look what they bid.
I know. I mean, it's a joke, really, I mean, you see, what happens in the sport today, Dax, and you know this, but, I'm just saying this to the viewers and listeners, you get these promoters that are hoping that a big dollar promoter outbids them so that they can make some money. Like that guy, why do you think that Russian promoter gets all these fights? Because he bids outrageous amounts of money. You know, the rest of these guys don't want to spend a penny. I love Joe DeGuardia. He's a great guy from Star Boxing, but he never invests in nickel. Lou DiBella, same thing. Great guy, putting on a lot of shows. Never invest in nickel. You know, they're very frugal when it comes to that. And Cathy's no different, man.
No, they are no different, and I'm stern. Like you, I like a lot of these guys. I think they're great guys, and I think they care about their fighters more than some promoters. But I still have to believe that, in my opinion, the guys where we're going tomorrow, I think Golden Boy is the best promoter now that Richard Schaefer's gone. I think Oscar De La Hoya himself is the best promoter in the sport because not only is Oscar willing to invest that money, but Oscar cares about his fighters, and Oscar knows how to make his fighters money because, remember, long before Floyd, Oscar was the cash cow of the sport, and without Oscar De La Hoya, there would have never been no Floyd Mayweather because Oscar De La Hoya is the one that truly, set that blueprint, how to become, the pay-per-view star. Tyson was the big pay-per-view king before Oscar, and Oscar brought that to a whole new level. Until Floyd fought Oscar, Floyd was a very talented fighter, but, he wasn't on that level, and Oscar took that recipe of success and he brought it into his promotion. And what's sad about this sport and the decline and the mindset that fans are given nowadays, you know what they concentrate on? They forget about his career, they forget about his amateur accomplishments, they forget about what he did as a promoter. They concentrate on a little scandal of these pictures and stuff like that of his drug use and those pictures of him, when he was high, dressed up in stockings and all that other stuff.
Yeah, well, that was bad that he did that, but
yeah, it was bad. It was bad that it was out there. But you know what? I can tell you what. I can't say personally, but I'm sure he's not the only one out there doing stuff like that. Now, tomorrow's card, Bill, that's going to be great where we are. That's a situation we spoke about before when it comes to sanctioning bodies. Lucas Brown finally is getting his fight with Shigaev. But now the question was, okay, the winner of that, does the winner of Bryant Jennings and Luis Ortiz fight the winner of Shigaev and Brown? Now, here you go. You would think so because that's the regular title, and these guys have the interim title, but then you have this Super World title. What is this Super World title even doing out there? It's decoration? What is it, bling? What's the point of it? You would think that the winner of the regular title would sit there and fight, the super champion, and then this interim title they would just use that as a number one defender spot. But then rumor has it is that something, Frederick Kendo is going to get the winner of Brown and Shigaev. Meanwhile, Kendo's been very inactive. I don't care about the controversy of the loss, but the fact of the matter is, what has Kendo done to get himself another shot? There's a lot of guys out there waiting that should be getting these paychecks and that have out there and earned this, and these sanctioned bodies are playing games.
Well,
I almost want an Al Heyman PBC title. This way, you know what? We already know the garbage that's involved because it's the same guys there.
Listen, Al Heyman PBC title, if that happens, it'll be the same thing. What the WBA is doing, first of all, yes, you and I already talked about this, but Fred Zaquendo was ordered by the WBA to get a rematch with Shigaev because of the controversial ending of that first fight, or actually not the ending, the situation surrounding the fight. Then he injured himself, and they ordered this other fight, and Brown was the next highest ranked available guy. But you brought up a great point. The interim belt, which is being contended for tomorrow night with the holder, Luis Ortiz, who shouldn't have even had a shot to fight for an interim belt to begin with, who fights? The winner of that fight, who do they fight? But here's what the WBA will most likely do. They will let the winner of that fight tomorrow night defend that belt so that they can make a sanctioning fee on that belt. They can make the sanctioning fee on the Brown Shigaev, and then the winner of that fight fighting Fred Zaquendo. And then who knows what they're going to do when the super belt gets fought for again, which most likely will be when Tyson Fury and Vladimir Klitschko have their rematch. So, think about what the WBA is doing. They're getting 3 sanctioning fees for one title, so to speak, even though it's spread out among 3. It's a joke. Listen, I don't even, I'm starting to get to the point where I don't even want to recognize me personally, recognize these belts because to me, there's no value. There's no value there. Luis Ortiz shouldn't even be fighting for. He shouldn't even have a belt.
Get me started on that one. We stripped Cotto 2 weeks before the fight with Canelo under the terms, when he should have been rightfully stripped beforehand, under the terms that, you know what, in 15 days, Canelo has to sit there and he has to enter negotiations with Triple G since Cotto refused to. And then all of a sudden we go, oh, our mistake, we forgot. We go by holiday time. Guess what? You're in Mexico.
Listen,
there is no Thanksgiving in Mexico. You don't need the holiday time.
Yeah, but the reason why they stripped Cotto is because he wouldn't pay the sanctioning fee. So
well, that's part of it, you know.
That's the truth.
Making him look bad
that's the truth.
Nobody tells me who to fight.
That's the truth. I mean, the truth is that, you know, they did it. You're right. They did a flex of the muscle move, and then they look like idiots because they made it seem like they were so strong, and now Canelo basically said forget it, you know, and they paid the sanctioning fee. So really, their rules state that he's got up to a year to defend it or whatever the case is, and they just made a consolation. So he's going to get a payday against somebody, and Triple G will fight someone else. Most likely, I'm hoping he fights Andy Lee, and we'll go from there. You know, have him start collecting the belt. I don't even care about the belts. But let's talk about the card tomorrow. I want to get back to your comment about Golden Boy because, you know, what I like about Golden Boy is when you look at this card that's going to be up at Turning Stone tomorrow night, it's great from top to bottom. I mean, think about it. The two main event fights that's going to be on HBO, Luis Ortiz against Brian Jennings. I can't wait for that fight. I predict Brian Jennings is going to beat the snot out of Luis Ortiz. Nicholas Walters and Jason Socha, that's going to be a good fight. You know, and then on Latino, HBO Latino, you got Yuniesky Gonzalez against Shabransky, Gabe Rosado. You and I were talking about the Gabe Rosado against Joshua Clottey fight. That's a good one. And what about the return of Gamboa against a former Albany product in Highland Williams? I mean, great fights, you know. And then the two throw-in fights are even good. Jorge Melendez against Steven Martinez and Demetrius Ballard against Fabio Pena. I mean, what a great card, I think. I can't wait to go.
Absolutely, there's a lot of power there. You know, the ones that may appear to be showcase fights, you know, for the people who may not know some of them, you know what, each one of those guys, you know, they got a lot of power. So, you know, I think it's the Melendez and the Martinez fight. You got a fight right there where, you know, Martinez may have not really fought anybody of name, but, you know, he's a strong guy. That's going to be a fight right there that can end with one punch at any point in time. You know, the Nicholas Walters fight, that a lot of people were a little bit rough on that, but, you know, Jason Sosa, again, you know, this kid's a sleeper. Don't be surprised. The Yuniesky Gonzalez and Shabransky fight, these are two very talented fighters. I think Yuniesky Gonzalez, as a lot of people do, I think he kind of got the short end of the stick against Jean Pascal. Shabransky, you know, is anybody who's seen him in action, you know, you don't have to describe anything for him. You know, Gamboa coming back. And, you know, again, this goes back to the thing. You have the two top dogs on there, the ones that everybody has been trying to get rid of, one guy everybody says, you know, he's on his way out, he's an old man, he's going to be faded out in another year or two. This was 5 years ago, you know, Top Rank and Bob Arum. And then, you know, you got Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya. Ever since he's gotten rid of Richard Schaefer, and ever since Oscar, you know, I don't know if you watched that interview he had on HBO where he was talking about, he was embarrassed by the fact that, you know, all these fighters he had signed, that he realized he really didn't have any rights to these guys, and he couldn't understand, you know, what he did wrong. And he's saying, you know, I don't know if it was the fact that I had too much confidence in the people working under me, or if it was the fact that I wasn't doing my job on, you know, making sure that I overseen things a little bit better. But when Oscar De La Hoya is right there overseeing things, that company runs great, and it's doing exactly what, you know, it started out for in the first place, the very best fights, and make sure that my fighters make the most money. But, you know, nobody taking an easy road, because Oscar never took an easy road himself. I love this card because this card is exactly what boxing needs. There's no showcase here. These are all top guys, and, you know, even the fights of the guys that are not at that top level, like, you know, Joshua Clottey and Gabe Rosado, at this point in time in their careers, they're well matched, and it's going to be an exciting fight because, you know what, they really don't know how to put on dull fights.
No, there's not. The only fight you could probably say might be, very predictable is the Nicholas Walters against Jason Socha fight. I mean, and even that, maybe I'm not giving Socha enough credit, but aside from that fight, every one of these fights are a pick'em fight. I mean, I feel strongly about Bryant Jennings, but there's other people that feel Ortiz is going to win. They feel Jennings is too small. You and I actually differ on the Gonzalez-Shabransky fight. Gabe Rosado, I like Rosado in this fight against Joshua Clottey, even though Clottey's going in as the favorite, So, and Yuriorkis Gamboa, nobody knows what we're going to expect from him. Last time we saw him on a high-profile fight, he got knocked out, So,
well, look who it was too.
I know, but still, I mean, fighters change when that happens, and that's a guy that's been down a couple of times. And that was arguably the first time he was ever in some serious trouble, So, and Highland Williams, was a good fighter. He does have a loss on his record, but he was a good fighter, up and coming. I haven't had a chance to see what he's been doing lately, but I love the card. I can't wait to go, to tell you the truth.
You know what's good about cards like this is that, the guys that, you think, you're wondering, like you mentioned, Yuriorkis Gamboa, how's he going to perform? You don't know how he's going to perform. But, he's a proven entity in the sport. And even if he doesn't, perform well, and let's say Highland Williams Jr., pulls off the upset, now all of a sudden, you just boosted this kid's career. Highland Williams Jr. is only 25 years old. So, this not only would it test him, but this would also, put his career someplace where it could be relevant, and you got all of a sudden a whole new face on the scene. And, none of these fights are really showcase fights, and even the guys that, will take the Nicholas Walters and the Jason Sosa fight. Irregardless of what happens, if Jason Sosa loses, his career really isn't hurt because look who he lost to, Nicholas Walters. And Jason Sosa is a kid with some pop to it. That's why I love fights like this. Now, on the other news, did you hear this rumor, or is it me? I hear Chris Eubank Jr. left Matchroom Boxing.
Yeah, I just heard that, actually. My man Joel was telling us he didn't like the purse bid or something. I don't know. He's like his dad, I guess.
Brazil Mansour in the undercard of Wilder?
I like that. You and I were talking about that. I like that fight. That's no layup fight for Brazil. I think Brazil is overrated. And Amir Mansour, that's a great opportunity for him.
Amir Mansour is really he's trying to get back, from that loss, where he kind of, from the last time he was on the Al Heyman card, where he kind of felt that he got the short end of the stick because he was on the Heyman card. I thought he lost the fight, but Amir Mansour is a guy that always comes out to bring it, and we spoke about with Dominic Brazil before. He doesn't really like to get punched, and Amir Mansour is going to hit him, and so that's an exciting fight. A lot of good things coming up to start 2016, and I think 2015 is closing out very solid. And tomorrow night is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope we get to see everybody who listens to the show, and maybe a couple people in the chat room out there with us.
Yeah, I agree. And when you're on social media, tell them I'm going to be bringing some books with me. So if anybody wants some signed books, we'll both be there to sign it. So.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
That's even more reason buy a ticket, come out and see us.
That's right. That's right. All right, man. I will. I'll see you tomorrow, and everybody else will get to check out Dax's column up on BillyCBoxing.com and tune in to him on Monday when you'll do a breakdown.
I was just going to say, are we here Monday before we take the holiday break?
Yep, we're here Monday, and then the following Monday. So we're here once. Here, but the premium. Like I said in the beginning, premium podcasters and radio stations will still get stuff, but we'll do a live show on Monday, and then we'll be back after Christmas to do a live show on the Monday before, the 28th, and then
and what a better way to start out, your
and then we kick off. Yeah, then we kick off.
Family sitting around listening to Dax Khan.
Then we kick off our new schedule on January 4th. So I'm looking forward to all the new stuff, man.
Good stuff coming up, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and everybody enjoy the fight this weekend. There's a lot of them coming up.
All right, my man. Take care. That's Dax Khan. And like you said, he's going to be ringside. I'm sitting here in the chat room laughing because, my man Jack from the other side of the world, he's predicting that Jennings is going to get knocked out by Ortiz, and I think it's going to be the other way around. And while we get to that, I'll give you some quick thoughts on the fights tonight. Denis Shakarov against Rancis Barthélemy. It's a good fight on Spike, PBC card. I like Rancis Barthélemy in this fight. I think he's going to win this fight, although I think it's going to be a tough fight. So make sure you tune into that one. Jojo Diaz is taking on Hugo Pardita also tonight on Estrella TV. I like Jojo Diaz in that one. Tomorrow, Andy Lee against Billy Joe Saunders. I'm not going through all of the fights that are on the challenge because we've got like 18, but I like Andy Lee over Billy Joe Saunders, and I do believe Andy Lee will fight Triple G in his next fight. On the big fight of the weekend, the one I'm looking forward to the most, I believe that Brian Jennings will beat Luis Ortiz and knock him out. So I will be gloating on Monday to my man Jack and anybody else that thinks Ortiz is going to win. As far as the Joshua Clottey against Gabe Rosado, I'm picking the underdog in this fight. I'm picking Gabe Rosado to win. I think Nicholas Walters will take care of Jason Sosha. I believe Yuriorkis Gamboa will take care of Highland Williams. Let's see, some other fights. Gonzalez, I already picked, is going to beat Shabransky. And there's some other ones, too, that I haven't picked yet. That I better pick, but they're taking place tomorrow, so I'll pick them later. Yeah, those are the fights that are all taking place tonight that I just gave you my picks, and the early ones tomorrow. And the rest of them I will get out of the way a little bit later. So our website has been updated. So if you're looking for the Billy C Challenge standings, it's up there, so check it out. We got a tight race. They're all tight right now. The monthly winners, they were battling out for that, and the year end, all of a sudden, we had the person that was in lead, was coasting along, and then had a rough week, and now a couple of fights could change everything. So check it out. Our rankings have also been updated, so we got those all up to date. So check those out up on BillyCBoxing.com. And I also got,
Wake up. It's time for It's too early for a trivia question.
Today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question is being brought to us by two sponsors. First and foremost, BrainHealthForever.com. If you're looking to take care of your brain. Actually, if you're looking to, live life a little better, think more clearly, have more energy, not doze off while you're driving like I used to, all that stuff. Check it out. BrainHealthForever.com. Read the testimonials. Find out why Dr. Oz supports it. Find out why it's the only patented brain-specific supplement on the market today. Find out why I take one every day. BrainHealthForever.com. And today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question is also being brought to us in part by the Turning Stone Resort and Casino and their big event, which is tomorrow night. Dax Khan and myself will both be there, and I will have my book. If you're looking to get a copy, make sure you come up and ask for it. Here's the question. Now, if you're the first one to get this correctly by emailing me, Billy@TalkinBoxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com. You'll win a choice of some great prizes. I did get some answers, but none of them were correct. Here's the question. Which world champion lost the most title fights? Which world champion lost the most title fights? If you're the first one to email me the answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win a choice of some great prizes. Good luck to everyone on that one.
This day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. It's available right now, where all good books are sold. Now, you can get it literally right now while you're listening to the show if you visit Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. And if you're looking to get a signed copy, visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the book club section and follow the directions there. Now, if you're going to be up at the Turning Stone this weekend, come over and say hello and ask me for a copy. I'll have some with me. I'll be giving them at a discounted rate because you come up and say hello, and I'll sign it for you right there. So come on over and get it. I'll probably have a few with me anyway. But before I do this day in boxing history, I also want to remind everybody our programming schedule is as follows. Now, if you're listening on a radio dial or if you're listening on a podcast, don't worry about it. You guys are going to be getting all your normal stuff as you normally do. For anybody that likes to watch on a live stream or on YouTube, we are doing a live show on Monday, and then we're doing a live show on the following Monday, December 28th, and then we return on January 4th. Now, we are going to be breaking some things up. For 2016, we got some great stuff on the line, and we're going to be incorporating a couple of new shows at different times. We're going to be doing this show at our normal time for most of the week, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. So you got to make sure you tune in on Monday and the following Monday to get all the updates on how it's going to unfold. And speaking of that, make sure you email me 2 lists, your all-time great pound-for-pound top 10 list and your current pound-for-pound top 10 list for our year-end show, which is going to be a week from Monday, December 28th. I want to read all of the ones that we get. So email me, Billy at TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. On this day, December 18th, in 2004, Glenn Johnson wins a 12-round decision over Antonio Tarver to win the World Light Heavyweight title. It took place in Los Angeles, California. On this day in 1993, Simon Brown knocks out Terry Norris in the 4th round to win the WBC World Junior Middleweight title. It took place in Mexico. On this day in 1901, Joe Walcott knocks out Rube Ferns in the 5th round to win the World Welterweight title, and that took place in Toronto. On this day in 1942, Bo Jack knocks out Tippy Larkin in the 3rd round to win the vacant New York World Lightweight title. It took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. On this day in 1998, Will Grigsby wins a 12-round decision over Radatan Sor Inverpin to win the vacant IBF Junior Flyweight title. Took place in Florida. And on this day, December 18th, in 1916, Jimmy Wilde knocks out young Zulu Kid in the 11th round to become the first world flyweight champion at Holborn Stadium in London on this day in 1916. Listen, there's a lot of good fights this weekend. We start off with some good cards tonight, so make sure you tune into those. And don't forget to tune in to the Turning Stone on HBO. Now, if you can't make it there ringside, don't forget to watch it on HBO. It's going to be a great card. It's going to be a better card live. So if you do have a chance to get up to Verona, New York, and you can change your schedule around, do so. I'm going to be ringside, and I'd love to meet you. And I'll have my book. And Dax Khan will be there, too, throwing stones in glass houses. So we hope to see you there. And I forgot all about this. Hey, man, enjoy all the great fights this weekend. Like I said, including the great card up at the Turning Stone. But more importantly, don't forget to tune in the same bat time, same bat channel on Monday. Until then, ciao, baby.